Good morning, students. As we were studying about the reproduction in lower and higher plants, so we will continue with that. In the previous lecture, we have studied about the asexual reproduction in flowering plants. So today we will start with the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Yes, before studying the sexual reproduction in plants, we will study about the structure of a flower, because this is the flower only which is taking part in sexual reproduction. So when we are studying about a flower, this flower rests on one of the structure which is called the receptacle or thalamus. You can see this green color. This is called the receptacle where all the parts of the flower rest. Now, each flower has 4 whorls. These whorls are calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. I repeat, each flower has 4 whorls. These whorls are, first one is calyx, then corolla, then androecium and then gynoecium. So one by one I will explain you all the parts. First one is the calyx. Each member of the calyx is called the sepal. You can see here green color. This is called the sepal. So these sepals may be 4 or 5 in a flower, and their function is the protection. The second whorl is called the corolla, and each member of the corolla is called the petal. You can see the petals here, and these petals are mostly colorful in nature. Why they are so much colorful? They can be green, they can be red color, orange, yellow, blue. So many colors are there, and they are colorful to attract the insect for the pollination. About the pollination we will study in the next lecture. So these petals can be 4, 5, 6, any number can be there of these petals. So this is the second whorl of a flower. The third whorl is called the androecium, and one member of the androecium is called the stamen. These yellow color, they are the stamens, and these stamens is having 2 parts. The upper swollen one is called the anther, and downward is called the filament. So this is the third whorl which is called the androecium, and in the androecium one member is called the stamen, and when we see the stamen, it is having 2 parts. Anther, upper one is called the anther and lower one is called the filament. Right? Now the last and the fourth whorl is called the gynoecium. Gynoecium, this middle one, blue color, this is called the gynoecium. One member of this gynoecium is called the carpel. If we see the structure of the carpel, it is having three parts. The upper swollen one is called the stigma, and then this tube-like structure is called the style, and lower swollen one is called the ovary. Inside the ovary, ovule is there, and inside the ovule, eggs are there, which are taking part in the fertilization. Right? So like that, each flower is having the four walls. Outermost calyx, then corolla, then androecium, and then the gynoecium. See, this calyx and corolla is called the accessory walls. Calyx and corolla is called the accessory walls, and androecium and gynoecium is called the essential walls, because androecium and gynoecium are taking part in reproduction. Right? So this was all about the structure of a flower.
Now students, we will study the structure of a real flower. This is the hibiscus flower, which is also known as the shoe flower or the China rose, and botanical name is Hibiscus rosa sinensis. Okay, so already we have studied all the four walls of the flower. Again, in the real flower, I will explain you. This part downward, you can see this part is called the pedicel. If the flower has the pedicel, it is called the pedicellate, and if the flower is not having the pedicel, it is called the sessile. Above this pedicel, you can see one swollen part is there. This swollen structure is called the thalamus. This thalamus is having all the four walls. One by one, here all the four walls are there. What are these four walls? Calyx, corolla, androecium, and this is center one is called the gynoecium. One by one I will explain you. This is the calyx, green color you can see calyx. First wall is called the calyx. One individual member of the calyx is called the sepal. This green color, these are the sepals. So now we will see how many sepals are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 sepals are there. If the sepals are joined together, then this condition is called the gamosepalous. What is the function of the sepals? They help in the protection. Second wall is called the corolla. This colorful part of the flower is called the corolla, and the individual member is called the petal. This is the most colorful part of the flower, which helps in the pollination. Because of the colorful, because of these so many colors, it can be red, yellow, orange color, the insects are getting attracted and they help in pollination, which we will study afterwards. Third wall is called the androecium, and the one member of the androecium is called the stamens. This yellow color, students, can you see this yellow color? These are called the stamens. They are getting attached with the innermost part, gynoecium. So this is the androecium, and the individual member of the androecium is called the stamens. These are the yellow color stamens are there, and stamen ka one swollen part is there, which is yellow color. That is called the anther. And inside the anther lobes are there, in which pollen grains are formed. And the most innermost part, middle part, this is called the last wall, fourth wall, that is the gynoecium. This middle one, gynoecium. Gynoecium ka individual member is called the carpel. Here This is the carpel, and if we will see one of the carpel, it is having three parts. This uppermost, this one, this is called the stigma. Middle one, tube-like structure, is called the style, and downward, when we will dissect the flower, when we will open the flower, inside swollen part is called the ovary, in which ovule is there, and inside the ovule eggs are there. Right? So like that, each flower is having four whorls. What are these four whorls? Calyx, corolla, androecium, and the gynoecium. After this, we will study the TS of anther. You know very well, students, these two whorls are called, calyx and corolla are called the accessory whorls, and innermost androecium and gynoecium are called the essential whorls because they take part in reproduction. So when we are talking about the reproduction, it is necessary to study these two whorls in detail. Which two whorls? Androecium and gynoecium. So after this, we will study the structure of anther. These are the anthers. So we will study the TS of anther.
In the next slide, students, we will study about this anther. Yes. Now this is the structure of anther, or better to call it TS of anther. This is the TS of anther. Now, each stamen has two parts, anther and the filament. This anther can be two types, monothecous and dithecous. Monothecous, if one lobe is there in the anther, in the previous slide we will see here, this is the anther. If here two lobes you can see, so this type of the anther is called dithecous anther. Dithecous. And if only one lobe is there, then it is called monothecous. So most of the angiosperms are dithecous. So they are having dithecous means, as earlier I have told you, in biology the words itself is telling us the meaning. Dithecous means two lobes are there, and in each lobe, see, this is the one lobe and this is another lobe, right? This is the one lobe, and this is another lobe. So this is called the dithecous anther. Okay? In one lobe there is two microsporangia. This internal structure, this black color, this is called the microsporangia or the pollen sac. This is one, this is another one. So this is one theca or lobe, and this is another one. This is one microsporangia, this is another one microsporangia. So in one lobe there are two microsporangia. This is also called the pollen sac, in which pollen grains are there. Okay, before studying that, we will study the structure of anther. If we will study the structure of anther, it is having four walls. It is having four walls. See, outermost is called epidermis. We can see here, outermost wall is called epidermis. As you know, in all structure the outer wall is called the epidermis. Epidermal cells are flat cells. You can see the structure of the cells. They are the flat cells, and this is called the epidermis, and their function is the protection. They are protective in nature. Second layer below the epidermis is called the endothecium. This is the endothecium. The cells are radially arranged. This is also one layer of the cells. Epidermal cells are also single layer, and below this the endothecium is also there, and this endothecium is also single layered cells. And in this endothecium callus formation is there. Here I cannot show you, but here callus formation is there. Because of that they are hygroscopic in nature, and with that hygroscopic nature they help in dehiscence of the anther. When anther burst out, that is called the dehiscence of the anther. Now the third layer is called the middle layer. You can see here all these structures are same, students. All these four structures are same. Yeah, here we can see the middle layer. This is the middle layer, third layer, which is made up of parenchymatous cells. There are 2 or 3 layers of the middle layer. And the innermost fourth layer is called the tapetum. We can see in another microsporangia. This fourth layer is called the tapetum, which is somewhat pyramid type shape. See here, they are little bit bigger in size, and each cell is pyramidal shape, in which there are many nucleus or only one nucleus. In the tapetum there can be one nucleus or there can be many nucleus, so it is also uninucleated or multinucleated. This is the tapetum. Here also I will show you. This is called the tapetum, and this is the most important layer. The function is they are nutritive in function. Nutritive in function means inside the pollen grains are there or the microspores are there, and this tapetum is providing the nourishment to the developing pollen grains or the microspores. So I'll repeat again. In this anther wall there are total 4 layers are there. First one is epidermal layer or epidermis, which is protective in function. Second one is the endothecium, which is hygroscopic in nature. In this callus formation is also there. The cells are arranged radially. And third one is called the middle layer, which is made up of parenchymatous tissue, and there are 2 or 3 layers. Epidermal is the single layer, endothecium is also single layered, and the middle layer is of 2 or 3 layers. And the fourth layer is called the tapetum. You can see here, this is the tapetum, and this is in this tapetum there can be the one nucleus or there can be the many nucleated. It can be single nucleated or multinucleated. This is called the connective. What is the function of this connective? You can see in the center connective is there. This is the function of the connective is to connect both the lobes. I told you in the beginning there are 2 lobes. This is one lobe and this is another lobe. So this connective is joining both the lobes together. Now inside the tissue is there which is called the sporogenous tissue, and this sporogenous tissue is nothing but the microspore mother cells. Sporogenous tissue is nothing but here they function at the time of the maturity of the anther, they function as a microspore mother cell which is diploid 2x, diploid in nature, and this microspore mother cell after the maturity they go for meiotic cell division. In 11th standard we have studied two types of the cell division, mitosis and meiosis. So this sporogenous tissue or the microspore mother cell which is diploid, they go for meiotic cell division, and after this meiotic cell division they produce microspores or the pollen grains which are haploid in nature because they formed after the meiosis. So the microspore which are present inside this microsporangia, this is called the microsporangia or the pollen sac, in which microspores are present or the pollen grains are present, which are in the form of the tetrads. They join together and that structure is called the tetrads, and afterwards they get free and called the microspore which are haploid. Thank you.